loud here. Sorry,
Oh,
hold
it's
on.
okay. I'm gonna mute you if you have a lot of noise, because I'm gonna talk just for a couple minutes. But okay, I'm recording. So this is our team call. Basically what we just did for the last 3 minutes is we had a dance party. So I'm challenging everybody, listening to the recording, go find a song that pumps you up. It doesn't matter what song it is. There's no right or wrong song, but pick a song that you are energized by. Go listen to it and just close your eyes and dance your freaking heart out. Get your energy moving, pretend like nobody's watching. I mean, if you really want the pressure, then have somebody watching, but whatever. But do a dance, just get your physical energy different. You can do jumping jacks. You can just bounce up and down like you're in a mosh pit. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just let your body move, get your physical energy going. And can you hear it in my voice? My energy completely changed. And I was just 3 minutes. Okay. We all have 3 minutes to listen to a song before we go and do those invites to a challenge group, or before you go and do that thing you're scared of, like posting on social media. Post after you do a dance party, or you give yourself some air fives. Okay. These are some of the strategies that I learned from Brad Bizjack last year in his Appreciation Academy. I know Nicole has done that before. Air fives, it's pretty much like you jump with 2 hands reaching up as high as you can, and you try and high five the ceiling. That's all it is. It's super easy. Your kids will love it. You're any kids that you're around, any other people that you're with, and you're just hey, you're feeling down, let's do some air fives, you'll feel better. It's the same thing. All it does is change your energy. Okay. So that's just a technique I want you guys to just try on for the next few weeks. If you're having a hard day, change your energy, change your focus. Okay. Then after you get your energy up and moving, you get that song going, you have a dance party, whatever, then go listen to PD, go listen to some, good podcast, a book that, if there's a book that fires you up, Un-F Yourself. I know is yours, your favorite one, Stephanie, or at least one of your favorite ones. Go re-listen to parts of your favorite books, because they fire you up and they help you feel better. You don't have to get caught up in this rut of, well, I didn't finish the last book I was reading. Personal development is personal. So if you guys are feeling like your personal development is not working, find what will work and find what helps. Steph, are you trying to talk?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just there's a finger waving.
And my dog's I'm trying to, Hunter wanted me to sit with him. Anyways, I actually today just bought the hard copies of Girl Wash Your Face and Stop Apologizing. And then I also got the Unfuck Yourself. There's a daily calendar, and it has they're tear-offs. Oh, and nice. I bought that. So I thought that would be really good for me to kind of have that little extra reminder, because I loved that book.
So my next book that I'm going to be listening to, I'm still finishing listening to Byron Katie's Loving What Is. That's kind of one that I kind of have to take it in chunks, because it's really deep. It's really deep stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about thought work tonight. That's mostly what I wanted to do with you guys, because that's something I get excited about. But the song that I'm going to be, or the book that I'm going to be reading next is Fear Is My Homeboy. So just it's literally just about making fear about the unknown, fear about doing new things, fear about whatever you're afraid of, making it just normal, normalizing fear, and just getting used to the fact that just because you're feeling fear doesn't mean that something is wrong. It just means you're feeling fear. That's it. So, okay, we have about 20 or 30 minutes left, roughly. And I wanted to let you guys go through, and since Amanda was the first one that hopped on, I'm going to go Amanda, Emily, and then Steph, and then anyone else who happens to come on, we'll do that. But I wanted to give you guys just a couple minutes to tell me a circumstance. Tell me something that's happening right now, and we're just going to go through a little bit of some thought work around it, just to give you some background so you guys can be thinking about this, and you can look at this. I'm going to show you my screen really fast. Okay. So this is called The Model. If you're familiar with the Life Coach School, or Jody Moore's podcast, Better Than Happy, this is what she talks about. And Stephanie, I don't know if you've listened to this podcast, but I know that we've talked about the model before. We've kind of talked about a few of the different things with other circumstances. So this is kind of what we're going to be working through a little bit today. And I'm just going to try and I'm not a life coach, but this is something that helps me figure out my own stuff, is to help you guys figure out your stuff. So, Amanda, you were talking with me a little bit about your work situation. So can you figure out, based on what's going on, what's your circumstance?
I can't read that, but it's
No,
too
it's okay.
small.
Okay, so let me just read it for you guys so you can see it. It says circumstance is factual. It's without any opinion. It literally is just what is happening in your life. So like,
Okay.
what's your circumstance right now with your job?
It's unknown. I'm
Okay, so
suspended with leave.
I've been suspended, or whatever it is. So your circumstance,
Yeah.
literally, there, you can't contest it. It's a fact. You've been suspended from work. So what's your thought around that? What's just one thought? I know you have a lot, but what's
Yeah.
one?
I think my thought is around it is, I don't know.
So
It's just
can I restate something that you said to me?
Sure.
Okay, so one of the things that I remember you saying just before we started the dance party was that, like, I'm not sure what I should do.
Yeah.
Okay, so does that, like, do you feel like that's a thought? Like, just, I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you think the thought, I'm not sure what to do, then what's the feeling that thought gives you? Give it a one word answer. Like what feeling arises? Fear, anxiety, happiness, joy, like what comes up?
Panic.
Panic.
I feel
Hey. And what do you do when you're panicked?
I usually exercise, but when you have so much time, exercise only does so much for 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Okay, so then what happens when the exercise is done and you're still feeling that feeling of panic?
Then I get upset.
Okay, so you're upset at yourself for feeling panic?
Like I don't know what to do with the feelings.
Okay.
Like I usually go back to bed or
Okay, so the action would be like going back to bed or doing nothing, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Or
so then I try to find stuff to do.
Okay, so you try and find stuff to do, and if you give into that feeling of panic instead of finding something else to do, then you end up doing nothing at all. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the result of your actions are, let's see, the thought was, hold on, what was the thought? I should have written it down.
That's okay.
Just
that I have nothing to do. What do I do with my time, kind of thing? I guess.
Yeah. Like, I guess that's one of your thoughts. It's like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's an unknown thing. Like,
yeah.
You've been suspended from your job, and you have a lot of unknowns. Like, you don't know when you're going to get back to your job. And maybe even like the thought could be like, I don't know what to do. Like, do you feel like does that bring up panic as well?
Yeah, just because like I have talked to a couple of avenues and I can't apply for another job because it's my license that is being investigated.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
okay. So
yeah.
The thought that you have then saying, I don't know what to do, it sounds like you're actually doing some things. Like you've been taking action as much as you do know what to do, right?
Yeah.
So is the thought, I don't know what to do, is it really true?
No.
Okay.
I guess not.
So you do know what to do because you just told me that you've been doing some things. If you do know what to do, then that thought is no longer a true thought. And if it's not a true thought, then all of the feelings and the actions and the results that you get from that thought, they're not things to really worry about. Like when you feel that panic and you feel that anxiety, it's because you're having this thought. It's not because your job is suspended. It's because there's a thought around this job and a thought around, I don't know what to do. And I can totally relate to that, because then you start to feel overwhelmed. Then you start to feel exhausted, and you start to feel anxiety, like all of this panic sets in, right? So one of the things that Jody talked about today on our Monday Magic call, I'm in her Jody Moore's coaching program, and one of the things she talks about is that recognizing our emotions are part of the human experience. So a lot of us will go through life and we have emotions come up about different things, like a circumstance, like like losing your job, or, you know, being suspended from your job right now, being in this place of like uncertainty and unknown. And what happens is we start to resist whatever emotions are really happening. So if you had to think about what's an emotion you would say from being suspended from your job, like instead of panic, what's just the circumstance, I've been suspended from my job. How do you feel? Do you feel hurt? Do you feel sad? Do you feel guilty or ashamed? Like what's a feeling around that?
It's been so long, the emotion has changed. I think now, after like 4.5 months, it's just, I'm hurt that someone would say that again about me.
Okay, so you're hurt. What if instead of resisting feeling hurt, what if you just let yourself feel hurt?
Yeah.
Like instead of resisting and thinking, I don't know what to do, and feeling overwhelmed and feeling anxious and having this panic set in, what if instead you just let yourself feel hurt for a day or a week, or, you know, just whatever time it takes to process that emotion, and you just let yourself have some cry sesh and go watch some chick flicks that make you cry, like get all the tears out. Because when you feel hurt, your body needs to process that emotion so that it can move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So really, like our emotions are there to be experienced. And that like is one of the things that is the hardest for me to do. But she says just a trick to know if you're just resisting emotion is to recognize and just get curious about the times that you're feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and super anxious, because those are almost always indicators that you're not processing the feeling. And it doesn't mean that you have to go and change the thought right away. It just means you need a little bit of time to sit with that feeling. Okay.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
I'm going to challenge you this week. Maybe do some meditation and just let yourself feel hurt. Like,
Okay.
like figure out what that feels like in your body and just experience it. And then whenever you approach something like, you know, your business or your workouts, then let yourself off the hook of feeling hurt, or, you know, whatever it is. Like if you give yourself 5 minutes a day, I'm going to feel hurt for 5 minutes a day. Or 10 minutes or whatever, then your brain can say, okay, I know that I'm going to have time to feel this feeling later, so I can focus right here, right now on this. But then do things like the dance party or air fives, things like that to get your energy up, and just focus on the next, 10 minutes in front of you of like, okay, I have 10 minutes, my energy's up. What can I do to move my business forward? What can I do to move my life forward? Whatever it is that you want to do. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, Emily, you're up. Talk to me. What's going on in life?
Okay. Well, let's see. I just got through a 3-week depressive episode, which really sucked, mainly because it just sucks outside here. My therapist said that like everyone's losing their shit up here in Minnesota. She did. She was like, all of my clients who are not suicidal are like, where I now have to worry about them. She's like, my like strong people for whatever reason can't like hold their crap together. But I'm coming out of that, and I think it's literally because I sat with my depression and let myself just feel it, and knew that it was just an episode, and eventually I was going to feel better. It just took a while to get there.
Yeah, and that's okay.
The biggest thing now, the biggest thing is dealing with my 13-year-old who has had 2 concussions and is now avoiding school, and dealing with his anxiety and all the comments that my lovely in-laws like to make about all of that.
Okay, so can you pick one instance, one example of something that's happened today?
Not today, but 2 weeks ago, I was told that Evan is now on too much medication.
Okay, so the circumstance, it's a fact. Okay, this means that there's no opinion on your part. Your in-laws, the circumstance would be my in-laws, right? Your in-laws?
Yeah, it'd be my mother-in-law and sister-in-law.
Okay, so my in-laws said, quote, Evan is now on too much medication. Okay, and what's the thought you have around them saying that? Not the actual Evan is on too much medication, because that's their opinion, but what's the thought on my in-laws express their opinion, basically?
That
What do
I
you
wish
think
that
or
they would
feel?
just shut up.
Okay, and when you think, I wish they would shut up, then what happens? What do you feel?
There's a lot of anger,
Okay.
and it makes it harder for me to want to be vulnerable to just people in general, because
Okay.
if the people who are supposed to, or that I would think that would support us the most, don't, then what am I, what about the stranger who's reading my Instagram post?
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you said the feeling you have is anger, and the action that you take is you withdraw from people. You withdraw
Yes.
from connection. So who does that hurt, you or them?
Me.
And what's the result? What happens in your life when you withdraw from connection? How do you feel? What do you behave? What are the results of your
Everything
actions?
everything goes into chaos.
Okay, so everything is chaos. Okay. So your thought was, I wish that they would just shut up. They should support me, was another thing that you said.
Yep.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Is it true? Should they support you? Should family members support their other family members?
They should, but they don't have to. Like, in all honesty, they don't have to
Okay,
support me.
in your case, do they support you? That's what I'm asking. Do they support
No.
you fully?
They don't.
So should they, or should they just do what they're doing? Because the
I
only
don't
one
know.
this is the tricky thing, okay? This is
Yes.
super mind-blowing, but this is where Byron Katie comes in, Loving What Is. She asks this question of like, and I should probably pull up the other thing too, that would be helpful for me. But she just asked this question like, is it true? Okay, can you absolutely know 10,000%, can you know that they should support you in anything you do? It's just a yes or no answer.
No.
Okay, so that thought is not true. That's what you're telling me.
Okay. Yep.
So when you think the thought, they should support me, or they should shut up, or whatever it is that
Yep.
they should do, and you feel angry, what if you instead tried turning it around? So that's something that Byron Katie does, is she tries a turnaround. So instead of saying they should support me, then she asks for a complete turnaround. So like 180 degrees. What's the opposite of they should support me?
I should support me.
Okay, that's more like a 360 turnaround.
Okay.
The complete opposite of them supporting me or them not, right?
Yeah.
So either they should support me or they should not support me. If we turn it around and they say they should not support me, is that true? Because I think about like, should they not support you in what you're doing, in your anger, in withdrawing from connection?
Well, I mean, they're already not supporting me.
Okay, so
or like our decision.
Basically, what you're telling me is that you thinking they should support me causes you more distress than what they do or do not do.
Yes.
Okay, so what if instead you turned it around and you said what you said earlier? I should support me. How do you feel when you think of that thought?
Good, because I should support me.
And what do you think?
I should be my own best friend and not question what I'm doing just because of what other people are saying I should or shouldn't do when they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So like they just kind of hear the summary of what's going on, but they're not the ones at the neurologists, they're not the ones at the therapy appointments, they're not a part of when we go to the school and have the meetings with his dean.
And
like they're not there.
Should they be there? Should they be there supporting you at all those appointments?
No.
Okay, so what if you let them do what they're doing and living their life the way that they're living, and you focused on supporting yourself the best way that you know how?
Okay.
So what if instead of having this expectation and then being let down every time they don't ever meet the expectation, What if you just said, I don't expect to get anything from them
Okay.
other than them to show up and them to be
Okay.
my family and, you know, be there for me to love them when I'm able to come to a place that I can do that. But
Okay.
since you're supporting yourself and you're taking care of Evan and you're taking care of all of your, you know, all of your stuff going on in your life, that might
Yeah.
mean you're not going to support them in the way that maybe they think you should support them. But
That's
you have
true.
to get clear on the fact that you're supporting you is the more empowering thought. Like, I have to support me. If I can lead from that place, that's a place where I'm empowered and I am showing up the way that I want to show up to my life because I have ownership over my actions.
Yeah.
Versus placing ownership of actions or placing all of the things that you want to have control over. When you say they should do something, you're putting all of the things you want control over into their basket.
Okay.
And that doesn't help you because you can't control what they do. We can't
That's
control what
true, I
other people
can't.
do. We can't control it at all. We can't control if our kids eat their dinner. We can't control if our husbands or our spouses or our friends do anything that we do or do not like. We can't control their actions. All we can do is control how we think, and we can control what we do as a result.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second thing that I wanted to challenge you to do really fast, just instead of, so changing that thought from they should support me, recognizing that they shouldn't. You
Yeah.
can't control their actions and you can control your own. But at the same time, those times, just continuing to do those things when those things come up, like triggers, so to speak, like a circumstance of your in-laws not being supportive, you just get curious about the feeling and get curious about the anger, because I think what probably happened, I'm not an expert, but I think what probably happened the last 3 weeks, you said this happened about 2 weeks ago.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's been 2 weeks, right? And you still like can remember what was happening. My guess is that you had the feeling of anger when they told you this. And
Oh yeah.
instead of sitting with the feeling of anger, you resisted it.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to challenge you to think of something you can do to process anger. Just kind of like, if you're feeling angry, what could you do? Do you need to go for, go work out? Do you need to go for a cold dip in the snow? I don't know, like something to help you process your anger. Do you need to go like cuss in your car for 5 minutes? Like, it doesn't matter what it
I
is.
need to get like a punching bag.
Yeah, okay. So punch things. Like, figure out a way to process anger and let your body feel anger when you feel angry instead of resisting it. Because I think if you can process the anger, the depression won't set in for as long, if at all.
Yeah.
Okay.